What's up, everybody? This is DJ Thielen, CEO of Fortune Foreclosures, founder of Flipping on Demand, and host of DJ's Dugout, where every single week we bring you a new live guest that's an entrepreneur, an athlete, a social media influencer, someone to help you level up and become better in life and in your business. Today on episode number 16, I have a good buddy of mine all the way from New Jersey, the Flip King himself, Mr. Joe Evangelisti. What's up, buddy?
What's up, DJ? Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So it's funny, you know, I saw, we'll give back Trevor some love. I saw Trevor was on your show, or, you know, you guys were doing a live feed, and I'm like, yep. Hey, man, yeah, that's funny, man. What a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Trevor's a good dude too.
Oh, he is, man. He is. Yeah. I said, gosh, that's a small world right there. So, hey, man, so you're out in New Jersey, you know, obviously doing some things, and, you know, we'll get into that. And so, as you know, like the show is, you know, premised on really just helping people, you know, become better in their life and their business. And I know that you have some massive value, man, probably more than any guest that I've ever had in regards to helping people level up from a personal standpoint to, you know, grow their business, to scale their business. And we're going to get into that. This is going to help a lot of people. So you're out in New Jersey. So tell everyone kind of, you know, who you are, where you came from.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, you know, my background's real estate, obviously. Well, I'm getting some feedback. Are you hearing that? You hear the feedback? No, okay. It might have went away after that. So my background's real estate. I've been flipping houses for a little bit over a decade now. Fix and flip. We do some buy and hold stuff. We also have a wholesale division. So we kind of do a little bit of everything. I also own a Remax, so we have a retail sales component as well in our business. And you know, I was one of those guys that just was like a grinder, you know, like that word hustle. People use that word. They overuse the shit out of that word. Yeah. And, you know, like I just hustle. I've always hustled. I was in the military for 6 years back in the day. And, when I got out, I became an entrepreneur, and I worked like 100 hours a week. And, it occurred to me when I started my family. Now my daughter is going to be 9 years old in October. I have two daughters. I have a 5 and an 8-year-old little girls, and they were both born beginning of October. And so they're turning 9 and 6 in October. And dude, it occurred to me when the family started, and you know, I had a wife, and I had 2 dogs, 2 girls, a house, this whole thing, that like I can't keep doing this. Like I can't keep working 100 hours a week. I have to find a way to create systems, to create automations, to create a way to get myself out of this rat race. Because what I had developed for myself was a really high-paying job, but it was a complete rat race, and I'd never been more stressed out in my life. And, you know, I was having fun. You know, I felt like I was doing the right thing, but I was getting my ass handed to me consistently, you know, and week after week, I couldn't create time for myself. I couldn't take my wife on a date. I couldn't go on vacations. I couldn't, you know, like today I'm down on the beach, you know, like I never did stuff like this during the week, especially, and even barely during the weekends. And, you know, I just decided at some point, like, it's like that was the last straw. Like I've got to figure out a way to start to develop more. And that's when I started to build my team and really started to educate myself on structure and systems and culture and what all that stuff meant. And I literally became like engulfed in those things, you know, like it kind of consumed me. As much as I loved real estate, I started studying business as much as I studied real estate. You know, like a decade ago, all I cared about was how to purchase and flip homes. And then, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, my biggest thing has been, you know, how do I create really, really good teams of people that I actually truly care about, that I want to work with, that I eventually, you know, our new culture really now is what we call, like we use the hashtag legacy builder. You know, we're creating leaders who are going to create legacy. And I want, you know, when I go in my office, it's not my office anymore. It's not my team anymore. It's not my company anymore. It's their company. It's their team. It's their legacy. And I want their grandkids to work there one day. So, you know, it's so much bigger than me. And that thing took like a whole life of its own. I'm kind of going on a tangent at this point, but I mean, that's really what I consume myself with now, is helping people make that transition, get out of the grind, stop killing yourself, stop stressing, and find a way where you can make great money and still enjoy your life. That's what's important to me now.
Oh, dude, that's the number one Achilles heel, man, of all us entrepreneurs, isn't it? It's like, because we're so used to selling and picking up the phone and doing calls. I'm, still do that. And it's so, once you're in it, it's so hard, man, to get out of it. I mean, it's really a choice. It's not hard. It's actually probably, very simple, but it's so easy, I should say, to get stuck in that, where it's like, man, money's coming in, I'm doing deals. Oh, I did another deal. And when you're used to that for, 10, 20 years, to transition and go into, running the business and actually being a business owner, being in the B quadrant, right? Like Kiyosaki, being in the B quadrant instead of in the S quadrant, self-employed, to where you can leverage your time, you can leverage really, other people and really build something special. So you and I talk. So let's talk about first, man, mindset, because obviously, man, mindset, is huge. And you told me, you and I met, a few months ago in Malibu, at a mastermind event, where we both invested in ourselves to go be around other business owners, entrepreneurs that are high level achievers. And we hit it off, man. And you were saying, we were talking about flying, right? Like flying on, first class. And you had your mentor that challenged you and said, hey, it's a mental state. It's not that I'm better. It's just this mental conditioning. And so we were talking about that. I go, damn, man, I've heard of that and everything, but I never did. And so I sent you a picture, right? My wife and I went and flew, and I'm like, hey, man, look, never going back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you said, hey, you're never going back, man. The jets are next. So talk about like that, like when, obviously you came, we all come from different backgrounds, but when the mindset that you had before you had mentorship and guidance and someone that could help you see things from a different perspective, and how that really, I guess, changed, things for you.
Yeah, it's so poignant, but so much of it has to do with mindset, right? And it's not just the mindset of thinking bigger, which is gigantic, right? But it's the mindset shift of you don't have to micromanage everything. The mindset shift of learning to let go of the vine. The mindset shift of, deciding, within yourself that you're not going to do everything and you're going to trust other people. The mindset shift of paying someone a salary and, setting the proper expectations. It takes a big mindset shift. A lot of times, again, you get these self-employed, and you made a good point, taking yourself from the S quadrant to the business owner quadrant. You're really self-employed. And if you find yourself, I ask a lot of people this question: if you disappeared for a month, what would happen to your business? If you disappeared for 2 weeks, what would happen to your business? 2 months, what would happen to your business? Some people can't leave for 2 days. If they left between now and Friday, their business would completely implode. That's not a business. If you can't take 2 weeks off, it's not a business. If you can take 2 months off, you might be getting somewhere. But if you can't leave for 2 days without checking in, without making phone calls, without physically doing something, then you don't own a business. You have a business that owns you. And that's a mindset shift in itself. People have to come to that realization before they can actually entertain the idea of moving into the ownership role, before they can decide, okay, this is what I want for myself. And by the way, it's not as easy as, I'm not a guru that's going to sit here and say to you, snap your fingers and you're a business owner. There's a process to it, DJ. It's not like every single self-employed person can just jump into the B-roll tomorrow and everything's going to be easy peasy and you can just go down the shore and just chill on the beach and your business is going to take off on its own. It doesn't work that way, but it does start with the mindset shift. It starts with deciding yourself that you don't want to do this anymore and you want to do something bigger. And that B quadrant leads to the I quadrant, which is why this stuff is so important, right? You can't create multiple streams of income until you perfect the one stream of income that you may or may not have perfected yet, right?
Yeah.
So you got to get that B quadrant dialed in first.
No, absolutely, man. And you said something really cool. You built, so talk about, so people know like what we're talking about, the business you built. How many employees do you currently have?
I think we're like 27 right now, but I just started. Yeah, I think we're about 27. I just started another company 2 months ago. So we have 3 employees in there. I'm floating somewhere around 27 or 28, something like that.
And when you were stuck in that that self-employed mindset, was it what helped you kind of break through, not just to understand, hey, I want to be a business owner, but what were some of the mental shifts from a financial standpoint or manifestation or whatever you want to call it that you made? Just say like maybe one or two that really shifted your energy, your behavior, your physiology. What were a couple of things that you did that really helped make that shift?
Well, I mean, number one was just making a decision that enough is enough, right? That's a tough thing. When you're on your own, and and I was making decent money at the time. I mean, I was making $350 a year or something like that. I was still at that point living paycheck to paycheck in a way, like I was flipping houses
at a higher level.
Dude, it was weird. I was a high level broke. I remember at one point when my first daughter was like 2 years old, I was like crying myself, to sleep trying to figure out how to pay my mortgage. And I thought, this is fucked up. Like, I can't be making this kind of money and not knowing how to pay. And I had a little baby house at that point. I think my mortgage was like $1,500. And I was thinking to myself, like, this can't go on like this, man. Like, I can't, something's got to change. At that point, I just hired my mentor, and that was another big mindset shift to me. I say this a lot, and I truly believe this. This is one of the biggest reasons that people hire mentors. Mentors will get you, great mentors will get you to believe in yourself when you don't believe in yourself, right? That's what a great mentor does. They get you to believe that you can do stuff that you don't think you're capable of, right? So, when you mentor somebody and you can convince them that they're invincible, and I'm not saying, convince people to jump off a cliff, but, within reason, convince people that they're capable of doing things that that they're capable of, but they might be afraid to do, right? So my mentor at the time convinced me, like, look, man, you got to go all in on this investment stuff. You know what you're doing. You're great at it. You know how to flip houses, but you're stuck in this real estate sales cycle. And I was putting on a suit and tie in the morning and going on listing appointments. And then I was going to the construction site in the afternoon and trying to flip houses. And I was like a torn person. Like, I didn't really know who I was. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and I wasn't operating at full efficiency. I wasn't certainly working within my unique ability. Even though I was great at real estate sales, I hated it. And, after about 6 or 8 months of him mentoring me, he basically said, like, dude, you can't do this anymore. You could flip 5 more homes a year and double your income on retail, right? And that's when it kind of clicked for me. It was like, okay, we can't do this anymore. We have to start hiring better employees, more employees, grow the team, transition full-time into flips, and really take risks on people, which that they're the best investments I've ever made is the team, the people.
And when you've been building, well, let's go back to something. So you and I had this talk, and this is like one of the many mindset things, right? About, hey, flying first class, right? And a lot of people like these little things that are like, it might be like, a fraction, like an eighth of an inch here, but as soon as you start going down the road, right, and in an eighth of an inch, and pretty soon you're like way over here. It's like, holy shit, man, how did I get way over here? What happened? And I've been there. You mentioned that you were there, and you were making great money, $350 a year, and just going, holy crap, man, what is, where is the money going? And so from that standpoint, as far as what was the mindset shift that was about flying, for example, on in first class? Like, talk about that. 'Cause some people hear that, or flying on a private jet, and they're like, oh, whatever, but it's really cool. Like the meaning behind it,
Yeah. So one of the mindset shifts is this: if you want to be a CEO, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to operate $1 million a year business, you need to treat yourself that way. You need to act that way. You need to not be cheap with yourself, right? Like, if you're cheap with yourself, what does that say about how you treat your people, how you treat your subcontractors, how you treat your clients, how you do everything else, right? So my mentor again, I owe a lot to him, but he said to me, you got to start flying first class. And I said, oh my God, how do I do that? And he said, it's easy. Don't even look at coach. Don't even look at what it costs. So, that's what I do now. When I go on the app, I book American Airlines, and I literally I go to coach. I go to first class. I click, go what's available, and I buy it. I don't even look at what coach costs anymore. And it's a mindset shift completely. It has nothing to do with the price. I'm not saying that to be like a boastful jerk off. Like, it's just, I don't look at coach anymore, because when you travel in first class, you check in right away. You're a priority in line. If you're like me, I hate flying as it is, so I have to have a Jack and Coke before I take off. So, you sit down and they give you a drink. There's no hassle. There's no generally, BS, unless there's flight delays, which affects everybody. You get a bigger seat. You're more comfortable. And, I don't know how often you're up there, DJ, but man, the conversations are awesome. I mean, sometimes you don't talk to anybody, and sometimes you get to sit next to, the CEO of some other company. So you're in a different place in time, and you have opportunity. And when you create opportunity around yourself, things happen, good things happen. So there's a lot of reasons to do it, but the most and the first and foremost is taking care of yourself. Hey
man, and you hit the freaking nail on the head, buddy. This is, I talk about this a lot. It's like, coming from a very poor, financial situation, no dad really in the picture, having massive ADD, I mean, like insane. And, I had a lot of chains to break. But, one thing that I've realized over the years is we as people, how we're going to get to the next level is, and this is what you're basically saying, we have to see ourselves as the person that we want to be, not who we are now. And, that could be from, a vision board, writing out your perfect day, all of the above, whatever. But, what you said is not just seeing yourself as that, but acting as if I'm a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. I am, this is who I am, and speaking life into that and believing that and acting in that way. Right. And then pretty soon, things start happening.
And dude, it's not easy. I mean, I flew first class, then it was me and my wife. Now it's 2 kids. Like, now there's 4 of us going first class. And now
it's a jet.
Well, now we're flying Jet Smarter, so we're on jets. And then there's no turning back once you're at that point. Like, you just have to keep pushing yourself to another level. But that's what it's all about. It's keeping it uncomfortable for me. That's what keeps it interesting.
Yeah, man. Hey, comfort zone is the death, right?
Yeah,
of all of us, man. I just moved my office 6 months ago because I felt like I was getting comfortable, and I'm like, let me mix it up. And dude, it was literally the best move that I ever made, Yeah. And I could talk more about that, but I want to stick with some things on your side. So you were working, you were flipping homes, you were wholesaling, you were a realtor, you were a builder. You've done everything, and now you've grown this, widely successful company, which we'll talk about. From a scaling your business standpoint, not just seeing yourself as the person you want to be and the owner you want to be and envisioning it and that, but what are some tactical things? You actually mentor and teach people, high-level CEOs, business owners, on how to scale and grow their business. What are a couple things? And I know it's, they invest a lot of money with you, but if they invest, and I think that's, if you're watching this, if you're looking at what something costs, you're completely missing the mark right out of the chute. You have to look at, what is my return on this, right? If I invest 50 grand to go out and make an extra 500, was that worth it? And not just the 50, it's not the money side, but it's the people you get to be around, the experiences that you get to have, and various things. But with the people that you have, Joe, share with us, like, maybe a couple of tips. If you can give people on here, like, say 2 tips that people that are scaling and growing businesses, what are 2 of the most common things that you see with people having this challenge? And what are some things that people can do to fix that?
Yeah. Yeah, so a couple of things you just said, and I'll definitely jump into that. One of the things is, yes, you're right. The investment, look, if you're going to make a $50,000 investment and then you make 500 year one, that's a 10x investment, right? But it's not even about that, because you've learned that thing that's going to take you on for the rest of your life. So you might make 500 grand for the rest of your life after that. So the interesting thing about making those investments is, I've learned things from being in these groups, these masterminds that I've been a part of for the last 5 years that are just absolutely priceless. You can't put a number on them. I mean, I've learned things and made $1 million off of them. I've learned things that'll make my company $200,000 for the rest of my life. Like these little practices that you put into play. I always tell people, when you come to an event that like something we host, it's not about throwing a hand grenade in your business and starting over from scratch. Because first of all, if you're at my event, you've already done something successfully. Right? Like you've already found your proven process to do something. Now it's about tweaking that. And so to answer your question, there's a couple things that generally people are having the same struggles with. Number one is called KPIs. They're key performance indicators, right? They just don't know their numbers. And one of the biggest challenges I see with people who are successful is, again, they're so in the business that they don't spend any time working on the business. And when you say to them, what are your metrics? They don't know, because they know how to make money. They've done it. They know that they're profitable, but now they don't know how to dial it in, right? So if you can't step back and take that 30,000 foot view from your business and look down on it and say, okay, how can I tweak? How can I change? How can I, this metric looks good. How can I make it 5% better? If you don't know what 5% better is, how are you going to make it 5% better, right? Yeah. If you don't know what your margin is, or your cost, or your acquisitions cost, or the time it takes, or who does what and where and when, those are all the things. Those numbers are so important for a business owner to know. And a lot of times when you're self-employed and you're in it, you're not paying attention to the high level numbers, because you're just grinding, right? So one of the things is KPIs. The way to solve that is to spend some time out of it. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that has to do with letting go of the vine, and has to do with giving people responsibility within your organization and trusting them to do it. And we can go on and on and on. That takes, it's a lot more than we can handle in this half an hour interview, but there's a lot that goes into that piece in order for people to start to find those metrics. It's not as difficult as you might think, but there's some process behind it. And I would say the number two biggest thing that challenges people, especially ones that want to make it from the operator position and become true owners, is ego. It's ego, DJ. I see it too much, man. I see people who say, this business would never run without me. If I wasn't, if I stopped picking up the phone and answering it, I wouldn't get the service calls. I wouldn't get the opportunity. The customers only want to speak to me. I'm the greatest shit on earth. No one can do it like I can do it. I could go on and on and on and on, right? There's so many business owners out there that think like they're the only people that can run a painting company, or they're the only people that can run a landscape company, or they're the only people that can run a real estate company. And it's unfortunate, because those people are going to wake up 20 years from now working their ass off with no way to retire, and no plan, and no team, and no culture. And they're going to keep running through employees, because they're never going to trust them, and they're never going to give them great culture, and they're never going to give them great opportunity, and they're never going to actually create anything for them. So they're just going to keep turning them over. And, it's going to be a long, painful cycle. And unfortunately, that's one of the biggest challenges when it comes down to what's the biggest problem in my business? It's generally you. It's generally me. It's generally the person running it, right? If your business has problems, you got to be able to look in the mirror. And if you can't have that hard look, and you can't really self-reflect on what's going on, and you can't really be truthful with yourself, then you can't solve problems. And, the business owners that are capable of being introspective and being able to look at what's going on and being really open to solutions, and then taking that advice and running with it, they're the ones that just set fire to things, man. They're the ones that really see big change, really create opportunity for people, really leverage situations, and then ultimately find freedom and wealth.
Yeah, and so give us an example, like the KPIs, right? The key performance indicators. Mm-hmm. Give people an example that maybe, let's say that someone has a sales team, and they're listening to this podcast, or they're watching it live or whatever. What if someone has a sales staff and they're saying, hey, or they're wanting to build a sales staff? What are the key performance indicators So they're not, right? Because if you don't have this, you're going to talk, oh yeah, hey, I talked to Sue and she said this and she said that. And by the way, we're from the same area. And it's like, you can't grow doing that with every single person, every single call. So what if someone had a sales staff, what would be, say, for example, the KPIs that they could talk to each rep first thing in the morning and say, hey, what were your numbers? What would be like an example of that?
So I'll give you an example of my sales staff. Everyone is going to be different. And I really caution people, like, you can't copy other people's numbers, because your unique business is your unique business. So it takes really sitting down and spending time with this. And in fact, ironically, after this call, I have a call to do this with somebody. But to just give you an example of like our wholesale sales staff, right, is very, very simple. It's, we have acquisitions guys that are on the street. Those are our sales guys, quote unquote. They're out there to basically buy properties. Their KPIs are very simple. They're how many appointments did you go on? How many contracts did you sign this week? And how many closings did you have? Right? It's very, very simple. It's not, this is not, high level calculus. This is not like, and you don't want to make it 15 numbers a week. So it's so difficult. Salespeople especially are very type A. And if you give them too many detailed things to do, they're just not going to do them. Right. Yeah. So when it comes to sales, it's very easy. Just come up with the very important high level numbers that they need to track. Because let's say you tell a salesperson, I want to know how many calls you made, how many contacts you made, how many voicemails you left, how many hang-ups you had, how many follow-ups you made to a salesperson.
How many text messages you sent?
Yeah, text messages. Let's say you had them track 10 numbers, right? They're not going to get shit done. Like they might give you 10 numbers. First of all, they're going to hate their life because you made them give you 10 numbers. Second of all, they're not going to accomplish anything, right? So salespeople specifically are very, very difficult to get KPIs out of. Now, the flip side of that is if you had a processor or an admin type person, you can get them to report KPIs to you very easily because they love that shit. They're analytical. They love numbers. They're looking at that stuff all day long. They'll dial it in. They'll give you every number you want. Could be a backfire because, again, the more numbers you get, the less productivity you get. So the way I say this to business owners is we call it living on an island. Okay, so if you're a CEO, you should be able to go take a trip to an island, a deserted island. Think of what was that movie? Survive is not the Survivor. What was the movie with Tom Hanks with the volleyball?
Yeah, no, I'll think of it.
Whatever. Somebody can comment. Tell us the name of the movie.
Abandoned anyway, or something like I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Let's picture you're Tom Hanks and you're on the island. And the only way your team can communicate with you is once a week, a little bottle is going to roll up to shore, and it's going to have 8 or less numbers on it. 8 or less numbers, metrics, okay? 8 or less. Those metrics are the only way you're going to know whether or not your business is healthy or not. It's the only way you're going to know if your business is surviving. So if you're the business owner and you're on an island, what 8 or less numbers are going to make you feel comfortable? First of all, you're not going to feel fully comfortable, so just live with it for the exercise, right? But comfortable enough that you're going to survive until another week, or your business is not going to go bankrupt until that bottle shows up next Monday, right? What are those 8 numbers to you? So to me, in my level 10 for my executives, those numbers for me are total gross commission income. That's combined between wholesale and retail. It's total homes purchased for the week, total gross sales, and that's all of the flip business. So like when we have like our goal for the year is to sell $10 million in real estate. So, they have to do 2.5 million a quarter, which is, sounds like a lot, but it's really not that much. So how much did they sell each week? Did they sell a $200,000 house, a $400,000 house, whatever? Total gross sales. And then operationally, we have a cash flow number. So we know how much cash was in and out that week. So I only have like 5 KPIs on my scorecard. As a CEO of a business that really is basically 3 businesses in one, that's the only numbers I have on my scorecard.
That's brilliant, man. It's like you said something. I mean, listen, unless you're on the island with, Ginger and Marianne, right? Things might be a little more exciting. Sure. On Gilligan's Island. But, you said something, man, that was really brilliant. And that was, some people are going to listen to this go, what's Gilligan's Island?
I'm going to try to plug this in. Keep talking. I can hear you.
Yeah. So, one thing that is really important to look at that I've come to realize too is obviously like gross sales, homes bought total but how much cash came in and how much cash went out, right? On a weekly basis, because and Laura just puts great tips on that, because that's so important, man. And because it's like, if you're not looking at, and I've messed up, I've just oblivious, and you get doing stuff, but you really have to know what's there. You have to know what kind of money's there. And I've had situations even myself where it was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And so, man, this is, those people that are listening to this and watching this, I mean, people pay Joe here, a lot, they invest with him, I should say, a lot of money to learn these things, so they can take their business from not just grow their revenue, but be able to grow it in a way where they can go to the beach, like you did today. They can have time with their family. They can have those, the life that they want, and have the freedom with that, as you were saying, if you can't take a couple of days off, or at least a couple of weeks really, and not have business still be generated, you don't have a business. Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of people, man, that are going to listen to this and watch this and go, damn, you know what? That's me. That's where I'm at. So you gave a couple great tips, on the island example is beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. That's really valuable. And then you talked about, obviously, the KPIs, knowing your numbers, looking at things. I know Mark Evans, who's a friend of both ours, said, hey, I talked with this guy or this gal, 5-minute call. Hey, how was it? What were your numbers? I have. Well,
that's a huddle call. So we do that every day. My team does that every day.
I have 10, 5, and 2 or whatever. Yep. And it's like, okay, cool. What is it? What is the saying? Data, not drama.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. So a business that's focused on numbers, you can't have too much drama, right? Like, if you find that you're in a business where there's just a ton of drama around you, and real estate's one of those businesses, by the way. I mean, you know that, DJ. I mean, there's just, everybody's trying to start bullshit constantly. It's water cooler talk. This guy did that. This chick did that thing. Whatever. In this business, if you can focus on data and keep that drama out of your business, as long as you're talking numbers, there can be no drama. There can be no drama in that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah,
I'm actually reading a fantastic book right now about that. In fact, I'll show you what it is real quick.
I'm reading this book, man, right here.
School of Greatness. Yeah, you know what? I met that guy.
Dude, I met that guy on the street corner here right in our office in Hollywood. He was standing there, and I got out of the car. I told my wife, I said, "Hey, babe, that's Lewis' house." She's like, "Who's Lewis' house?" And I go, "You don't know Lewis' house?" And he had his headphones in, right, like you do. And I said, "I'm going to say something." She goes, "Don't bother him." And I go, I jump out of the car, right, because she was dropping me off that day. And I go, "Hey, Lewis," and he's like, "Holy shit, man, who's this guy?" And I went up to him and I said, "Hey, man, I just want to say that I listen to your podcast. I love what you're doing, and just keep doing what you're doing." And right, and he takes his headphones out. He goes, "Hold on a second." And he takes his headphones out. He goes, "What's your name again, man?" I said, "Hey, I'm DJ." He goes, "Dude, it's great to meet you, DJ. I really appreciate, and it's just nice. Like it, it's like just who knows, what will come of that. I did send him a direct message on Facebook, but I haven't heard back. Hey, man,
nice. You made a hell of an impression.
Hey man, you gotta take a shot, right?
This is a good one. This is a good one though. Great Game of Business. If you haven't read that yet, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I'm breaking up or not.
Oh, Great Game.
A Great Game of Business.
Okay.
So great book. It's by Jack Stack, and this is all about numbers. So this is about gaming your business through KPIs, basically. So using the KPIs to create games within your business and being totally transparent with your numbers in your business. So that like your team basically runs off of the numbers, stats, everything, like knowing the profitability, knowing the margins, knowing what you make, knowing who makes what, like the whole thing, but then getting them involved in, okay, we'll game the system so that you can make more money if blah, blah, blah happens, whatever. It's very, very interesting. concept, but it's a really cool book.
So before you were doing this stuff, what was your business like?
Dude, when I was doing my business myself, I was getting my ass kicked. I was running two businesses at a time, and I was running them 100% myself. Now we have, I think the one we bought last, I think we have 9 businesses now. I don't run any of them myself. The only thing that's not fully automated is my mentoring business, which is one that I take that back. That's the only one I run myself, which is not a whole lot to run. I mean, it's a call once a week, but that everything else is on autopilot. I've really become functional at creating organization and creating good teams and trying to create great culture and create places that people want to work and create things that people want to do and actually so we have a concept that I know came up in Malibu. We've been talking about this a lot, but it's the ELF model, right? The easy, lucrative, and fun, right? That's become almost like a core value. It's almost like a cultural core value within our business now. Like, we don't want to do it if it's not easy, lucrative, and fun. And flipping real estate is not easy. So not every piece is going to be easy. Like, that's a little gray area. It's not like you can snap your fingers and a house gets flipped. We get that, but how do we make it as easy as possible is really what we focus on. How do we make everything streamlined? How do we make communication simple? How do we make processes simple? How do we make your job easy? I'm constantly asking my employees how I can make their job easy. And if you ask any single one of them, they'll tell you that's the truth. We're constantly trying to figure out how to make their jobs and their lives easier. And then we're trying to make their job fun. And when you make someone's job fun and lucrative, and you make it so that they can make good money, and they're gonna have fun by default. Like, you can't not have fun if you have an easy job that makes great money, right? Yeah. You're gonna have fun. Like, it's almost impossible not to have fun if you make easy money, right? So we're constantly trying to drive, how do we make your job easier? How do we create good value for you? How do we make it a place that I want to make it a place where my employees they're my team and they're my family. They're people that are never going to leave because there's no other place better to go. And that's the way I believe our company culture is heading, and that's where I believe our employees, that mindset is. And we're just going to keep growing better and better players because of that mindset and that culture.
So how long, once you got this and it clicked, right? Going from the S quadrant, right? That trap that we all fall prey to, of doing everything ourselves, micromanaging, not trusting, giving someone a task, taking it back, which that's one of the worst things that you can do. Oh. But before you really understood this, or I should say, once you dove in and you started doing this, how quick did your business grow? I mean, obviously, you hit snags and we all have challenges to work through, but how quick did it grow for you?
We grew from 0 to 30 in about 4 years.
Wow.
And then we kind of went back down a little bit, and we're probably going to hover around 30 for a long time. So this past January 1st of 2018, we made 2 big decisions. One was that I'm stepping away and I'm not going to have an office. So I don't even have an office in my office anymore. I don't go there anymore. I don't work there anymore. I do one 1-hour call a week with my team, and that's it. That's how the whole office runs. And so I left. I left my office. I'm not there anymore, which is actually probably one of the most beneficial things that ever happened to my team, because what it did was it made everyone realize that Brian's in charge. Brian's my integrator, my COO for my company. He's the guy that runs the ship. He's the guy that makes the calls. He's the guy he's the fucking guy. Like, I am not the guy. I'm just the guy who started the shit. That doesn't mean that I'm the guy that runs it. So Brian's the guy. Brian's the guy that you need to go to for all your questions. Brian has authority to do anything. He writes all the checks. He signs all the checks. Like, he's the guy, right? So that shift helped Brian create a lot of clout within the organization because people knew they couldn't come to me anymore. It also helped people become a lot more focused and easy because, dude, like, whether we believe it or not, we could be the coolest, nicest, most laid-back people in the world. Like, I'm from Jersey, and I can be an asshole when I want to be, but I really believe that I'm kind of nice when I'm in the office. My people don't believe that. Like, my people are afraid of me. Like, when you're the CEO, you're the boss, like, people are naturally afraid of you. Like, they're going to be on edge. It doesn't matter how nice you are. You could be Mr. Rogers. They're going to be afraid of you, right? So when you're in the office, it's not a good situation, right? Think about it. Any job you've ever had ever. If your manager was in the area, you weren't comfortable, right? So it's the same thing with being a CEO, being a business owner. being there is not benefiting anybody. But however, that doesn't mean that you don't do anything, right? So I am, like I said, constantly thinking about my employees, constantly trying to find ways to make their lives easier, constantly tweaking things to help them, constantly asking them for feedback. I'm shooting visionary videos, which is basically me hopping on YouTube and shooting videos and telling them things and educating them and doing trainings. I did a 1-hour wholesale coaching call for my wholesale team this morning from the beach. You know, like I can do that from anywhere, but I'm going to continue to create great value. It doesn't mean I just disappear and don't work. It's just I'm doing something. I'm doing different things. You know, the things that I'm doing, I could not do for a week and nobody would know the difference, right? There's weeks when I'm doing a lot of stuff for my business. There's weeks where I do nothing for my business, but most of the time I'm thinking about how to help create value for them.
Absolutely, man. I mean, so valuable, man. So valuable. And I want to get into, you know, that's one other thing too. It's like, you know, when you build a business real quick, and then I want to get into some things that you can help these people with on a mentoring side. What do you look for? You know, I think a lot of people, when they're hiring somebody, I've had to learn, obviously, a lesson myself, but what do you look for? Do you look for someone that, has, positive energy, that's good at what they do? What are some of the variables that, because I think it's different for everyone, right? Like to me, being happy, positive, energetic is so vital to me because I'm really big on, that's really important to me. I like that. Sure. I like that with my team. And like, if I could rip my shirt off and run down the hall on my hands and you wouldn't laugh, like, I don't think you could be around me, So, nice. But I mean, so tell me a little bit, what do you look for when you're hiring people? Like as far as quality.
Yeah. So we have our core values hang on the wall in our office, right? And some of our core values off the top of my head are has fun. So fun is one of the big core values in our business. Has to do the right thing. That's another core value for us. We have a thing called value equals opportunity. So let me detract for 1 second. So if you walked in my office and read my core values, you wouldn't know what they meant, right? So core values are meant to be kind of like different, like kind of gray to like the general public. They're only meant to be important to the people on the team, right? That's the way they're designed, right? So they're not written out in sentences. They're basically like has hustle is one of our core values, right? But one of the challenges is that doesn't mean has hustle like it does on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like has hustle means something to me. It means something to my executive team. It means something to my employees, right? And it means something different to each one of them, which is really what makes our core values special. So when my team, any one of my teams stops and you say to them, can you explain the core values? They're going to explain it in their own way. Now, so getting back to your point, how do we hire and fire? We actually hire, fire, and review based on the core values. Because the core values are so important to us. They're literally the type of people we want to surround ourselves with. We want people that have hustle. We want people that want to have fun. We want people that are going to create value and opportunity around us. We want people that are absolutely going to do the right thing, whether it costs us money or not. It doesn't matter, right? We absolutely want people that are going to show up and be dedicated to the team, and they're going to create value for everyone. So when we hire, whoever the hiring manager is literally reads the core values and explains the core values in his or her own way to the hiree and says to that person, can you get down with this? Because if you can't, the door's over there. Now's the time to use it, because you're going to be reviewed in 90 days. First of all, we hire in a probationary period. So people that are hired aren't really full-time employees until they work full-time, they get paid full-time, but they're not technically employees until 90 days. So they're in a probationary period. They will be reviewed on the core values after 90 days. And if we don't like how they fit as a cultural core value fit, they do not get hired. In fact, we offer them $2,000 to leave.
That's who does Tony or Zappos, yeah, right?
I got the idea from the Zappos dude. I friggin' loved it so much. We implemented it. I think it's a fantastic idea. So we pay them to leave at the end of 90 days, and if they are a cultural fit and they don't take the cash, then they're on board, man. They're an employee. And at that point, every quarter, they're going to have an employee review We're going to set expectations. We're going to talk about what happened last quarter. We're going to ask them for their feedback, and then we're going to review them on the core value structure again. Are they having fun? Are they hustling? Are they doing the right thing? Are they equaling? Are they adding value and opportunity to the culture? The whole thing, right? You ain't getting away from the core values, baby. They are everywhere. They're going to haunt you, and it's because that's exactly the person we want in our business. We're that serious about it.
Yeah. Well, hey man, when you get clear, like anything, right? When you can get crystal clear on who your client is, who your client isn't, who your employee is going to be, and who it's not. When you can get crystal clear on things, that in anything in business, that helps tremendously. So you've gotten crystal clear, not just you, but with your your management staff and everyone else. Like, hey, this is what we stand for. This is what we believe in, and if they don't fit, love you. Here's $2,000. Wish you the best. Have a great life, stay in touch, but you're not a fit here. And it's so easy. I've kept people on because of a friendship. That was my Achilles heel, man, forever, is, they're nice, right? And this and that. And like you say, you take the emotion out, you look at the data, you look at the having core values. I mean, that's something that I want to implement into my company. I'm going to do that actually today. That's a great piece of info. So with people on here, man, that are saying, hey, you know what, Joe, you've built this, multi-million dollar company. You created a space, like you were that self-employed. You learned how to put the things in place and the systems and strategies and everything. I mean, you shared some of it today, from hiring, from KPIs, from, being on the island, right? So you have a mentoring, what do you call it, program, I think, that is really second to none. So any of you that hear this, listen to this, there's going to be over time tens of thousands of people that listen to this, tens of thousands of people that watch this, that share it. So if you're watching this, stay with us for just a second, because I'm going to have Joe share with you. If you're someone that is in business, and I'll let him speak to this, but what I can say is, if you're someone that is in business, and you're trying to do everything yourself, if you're stuck in this rat race of selling everything yourself, not having a team, not having an actual business and being a business owner, then this is absolutely for you. If obviously you fit the criteria. So share a little bit with how you came up with this, Joe, your mentoring, and it's called operator to owner, right? Yeah, and I'll put the site up here in a second. So operator to owner, and how did you come up with it? And what are some of the results that people that have, while you're doing this, I'm going to type the website on here, but share, how you came up with this. Obviously you saw a need, you saw a way that something you went through that you could share with other people to help them not have to go through, the challenges and struggles, and finally have that breakthrough that they've been wanting. They just don't, we only know what we know. They didn't know how. So what are some of why did you start it? And what are some of the results of some of your members?
Yeah, for sure. So, I've been doing, so I'll get back to why I started it. So why I started it was simple. I've always decided that, people say, like, what's your why, right? And, for years and years, my why was my family, was my kids. And then I've kind of started to decide, and I know this sounds really cruel, but I've decided that, like, my kids are going to be fine. Like, my kids are cool. Like, I do a lot of good things for my kids, but my kids have a lot of things, and they're always going to have a lot of things. And if I die tomorrow, they're going to be fine, right? I started to decide that I want more than just, like, what's good for my family. I want to create a legacy for other people. I want to help other people build other things. And when I started to think about, like, our businesses, for example, like you asked earlier, I think we have 27 employees. We really have probably like 400 or 500 employees, because we run 60 to 70 flips a year. We have wholesale businesses. We keep title companies employed. We have electricians, plumbers, painters, HVAC companies, landscapers, truck drivers. There's hundreds and hundreds of people that are employed by us, right? And that's all keeping people fed. That's one piece of a business, which is awesome. But then you get into how do you start to create legacy? Well, you create legacy by sharing the knowledge of how you make an amazing business. And so I started to say to myself, well, if I can create this business and I can help other people do the same thing, then 100 years from now, some kid or some guy or some girl or some person is going to be doing something, and it might be a result from something that I shared, somebody that I helped grow. Might be someone who doesn't even know my name. It might be someone who never heard of me. But because I taught, this guy Dan how to do something back in 2018, 50 years from now, his grandson has a life, has success, has an ability to take care of his family, right? We have this ability to share, which is amazing. And that's more fulfilling to me now than flipping houses. Like, I get so much more out of seeing people succeed than I do out of flipping houses. Like, I don't even know when my team sells a house. I know it sounds ridiculous, but nowadays I don't even, we buy, sell, and flip a house, and I never see it. So the only time I see houses is when my team puts them back on Facebook for sale. So, I don't even get a lot of excitement out of the business anymore. I get excitement out of seeing people succeed in the business. So a couple quick success stories. I mean, we've had the mastermind itself. We call it the Inner Circle Family. So we've had that in existence now for about 10 months, I think. And it's a very small, tight-knit group of people. I only ever want to see it grow to about 20, 25 people. Right now, I think there's 8 in the group. And, like one of those guys, for example, he's in the Ohio market. He has doubled his revenue in 10 months, and he's grown tremendously. He's grown his real estate flip business. I have another guy who owns an insurance business, who basically is one of these guys who's an amazing guy. He's built an amazing business. He makes great money, and he's been working. He's been doing the business himself for 16 years, and he's finally starting to see some automation. He's finally starting to see some process, and he's taking himself out of that grind. And that's a hard thing to do for someone that's been doing something for 16 years, and not really changed for 16 years. So a lot of it's mindset shift, a lot of it's growth. Another guy in my group who's really been with me for about 3 years, never did anything in real estate until 3 years ago. Now he runs a $1.5 million business, profit, net profit. So, there's a lot of super cool success stories within the business. But some of the more fun success stories for me are just the freedom. They're the time. They're the ability for these guys to step away and have time with their family. It's not all about, I always say, people think that, like, you have to come here and it's going to be like this big, like, rah, how fast and how big can we scale it? A lot of times it's about how can we scale it down and just continue to make great money without putting as much time into it. Because time is really the most finite resource, and money is easy to make. We can do that all day long. So it's not, when people come to me, it's about figuring out what their need is. It's not necessarily just trying to scale their business up to something huge. Sometimes it might be to scale it back and clean it up and make it operate better and get them out of it, and a lot of other things. So it's not always just how big can we make it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, we got one life, and so many, so much of that time is spent, I think so many people, man, as entrepreneurs, it's so easy. And I've been guilty of this. You probably have, where we don't even think about like what we really want. We're just working, making money. Money comes in, it goes out. Money comes in, it goes out. But we don't take the time to sit back and go, dang, you know what? What do I really want? What do I really want my life to look like? What do I really want my business to look like? What do I want? And if you don't know, then if you haven't figured it out on your own, obviously nothing's going to change. So, and I can tell you guys that are listening to this, watching this, I'm going to put it up here again, but if you're somebody that feels stuck, if you want to talk to, speak to Joe directly, go to www.operatortoowner.com. I put it on the screen for those of you watching live. And for those of you listening to the podcast, you can go to www.operatortoowner.com and listen. I can vouch for Joe. I know him. I know people that know him. This guy's the real deal. And I wouldn't even share this with you if he wasn't. So make sure that, if you're someone that's struggling, you need help, you want to bounce something off, and just see if this is a good fit. See if, gosh, I want to take my business to another level. I want to remove myself. It sounds, to people that have never done it, right? It sounds almost too good to be true. Like, oh, whatever, there's no way that if I left and didn't do this in my business, it wouldn't produce. And those of you that are saying this, you're wrong. Like 100% you're wrong. I guarantee you, if you're selling, there's somebody out there that's a better salesperson than you. What if you hired that salesperson and that salesperson went out and did as many sales as you or more, because they're focused on one thing without any of your effort, and you made, basically the same amount of money because you have more sales, you pay them a little bit out of that. And that's really where, I've gotten stuck there big time, and we all get stuck. So if you're somebody that thinks that, you want things to look different, you want to build something, maybe it's to have more time with your family. I think time is, time here on this earth is the most precious thing that we got. I mean, as you know, I had 3 of my very best friends die in the last 7 months. And so from heart attack or whatever. And so it's like, man, when this stuff starts happening, you got one life. And I think living a life by design, if you're a business owner, we should all want to live a life by design, to me. But it's so easy to get caught in that rat race, right? Of the hamster wheel, and you just keep going and going and going, and you don't know how to get off it. And so those of you that are listening to this, trust me, go to www.operatortoowner.com, and you can see it on the screen on here. You can direct message Joe on Facebook. I would guess if for some reason you can't find the website, Joe's info is in here. You could direct message him. So one last thing, man, I want to ask you, buddy,
Sure.
before we bounce here. So, you obviously have a heart to help people, and a true passion, like me. And it's funny, real quick, you were saying that you get more joy out of helping people and seeing them get results than actually, selling a deal, right? Or flipping a house. And it's so
Sure.
funny, man. I'm the exact same point in life. It's like, man, if I help somebody win, if I can help someone else, show them what I've done for years, how to go out and flip that house and make their money, it's so much, like I just get a jolt of energy through me, and it's so much more rewarding. But when it comes to fear, all of us have fear. Obviously, it's probably the number one thing that cripples people. What would you say? What have you learned, I should say, about helping business owners overcome fears that they've had and overcome, have these breakthroughs? What is one thing, if you could give like one last? You gave probably the best info that we've had on the show, by the way. So thanks, bro. But what would be, something that people that come to you and say, hey, Joe, I need guidance. I'm broke. I'm here. I think the first thing is, you mentioned it. You got to be raw. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to have no ego. You got to be willing to look in the mirror if you really want to change and you want things to change. But from a fear standpoint, when you see these people that are scared to do this or scared to do that, obviously it's these things are subconscious. They're safety mechanisms to protect us, right? Like the fight or flight. How do you have people that have fear of letting go of this aspect of their business, or taking a leap of faith and going and doing something new, or investing into maybe an investment property, or investing into mentorship? What is the number one thing that you would say, or first thing that comes to your mind when it comes to dealing with fear?
Yeah, so I think of fear in a lot of different ways, right? But most of the time, fear is really just discomfort, right? It's your body saying, this isn't comfortable, I don't want to move forward, for whatever reason. So there's just a lot of different ways you can compensate with that. And I touched on this earlier, but the best mentors convince people to do things that they're not comfortable doing, or that they don't think that they have the capability of doing. They get people to believe in themselves. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me over the last 4 or 5 years. We kind of joke around this a lot, me and my mentor, that also when you're at high level of success, then you're probably dry heaving at least once a week. You're facing fear, you're doing all kinds of shit, and it's scary, right? But there's one thing about fear that I do know. It's once you do something consistently enough, you look back and you go, well, that wasn't really a big deal, was it? And then you do it again, you do something different that scares you, and then you look back and say, that wasn't that scary. I never thought that I could build a house. I thought flipping a house was one thing, and then I had to build a new construction house, and I was scared to death the first time I built a new construction house. In fact, I shot a video about it like 5 years ago, and I remember knocking this friggin' house down, and the new walls were going up, and I thought to myself, who the hell am I building a house? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to build a house. And I was petrified. And, we built, I don't know, 20 friggin' houses since then, 25 houses since then. And now I look at it and I go, oh, it's another house. I mean, I don't even step foot on the new construction houses anymore. Like, we just buy them in fact, we're building one right now. I haven't even seen the building lot. So it's one of those things where I think consistency starts to create kind of complacency, which is a good thing in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? So fear is just your body's way of saying, like, this is new to me, and I'm not sure how to handle this. So you got to find a way to cope. And there's a lot of ways to do that. Mentors are one way. Meditation's another way. Just taking freaking action is another way. There's another book. It's a great book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I don't know if you read that book. It's a great book.
I've seen it.
And he says in there that action creates motivation, right? Instead of the other way around, a lot of people try to get motivated. They go on Google and they search motivational quotes so they can go take action. And he has a great line in there, and it's called the do something principle. He has a theory that if you just go do something, action will be created as a result, right? So just get off your ass and go take action, and that's going to create more action and more action. You don't need motivation. Action creates motivation. By starting to kick the ball down the road, next thing you know, the ball's already rolling.
Yeah.
So taking action is one of the greatest ways to kick fear in the ass.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree, man. And it's funny. Obviously, in my office in here where I shoot, there's a bunch of baseball cards behind me, and I've got, Ricky Henderson, rookie, and all things I was telling you. But people don't really know. They think, oh, that's cool. That's your card collection. It's going to be throughout the whole wall. I'm doing, but. The reason they're up there, and I've actually never told anyone like why. It keeps me reminded that behind me is my past, right? My ball and everything, and that's my past. That's part of what made me who I am. Up here, I have Fortune Foreclosures, my bestseller things. This was what I went through, and then flipping on demand, I have FOD in front of me. And so, and I've never even shared this, but from a mental side, it's like, this is where I'm going, right? Our flipping on demand, training, coaching, teaching, flipping. This is what I've done and built, and this is behind me. But also what's behind me, when I look at these people on the wall, another thing it does for me is, these are the all-time greats, right? Ricky Henderson, Eric Davis, Al Kaline, Frank Robinson, Rod Carew. And I look and say, man, these guys are Hall of Fame. Frank Thomas, who's a friend, these guys are Hall of Famers, and they succeeded on an average 3 out of 10 times, right? So if these guys can succeed 3 out of 10 times, what the hell am I afraid of? If they can go up and be comfortable, just taking it, getting up there and swinging and knowing that, hey, I'm going to fail 7 out of 10 times. It's cool. But, if I take one risk, you can't really, tell, there's nothing really to tell, oh, I struck out, right? But if you take 10 risks and you hit a home run on 3 of them, right? Mm-hmm. You don't even remember about the 7. And I think so many, from salespeople to even people in our academy, I see people, it's like, man, just get comfortable taking risks and realize that you're going to fail, right? If you want to be the champ of the world, you're going to get punched in the face, right? But just getting comfortable and realize, oh my God, failure, I think failure is, to me, has made me who I am. It's literally helped me propel myself to a level that I would have never been able to get to mentally, not fine, but just mentally, had I never had failure and realized, oh my gosh, it's like, it's our perception of failure. So many people think, we grew up in school, right? You got an F, you failed, you're in trouble, right? You go home and maybe you get your ass kicked, or maybe you're grounded or whatever. And we're taught at a young age that failure is a horrible, horrible thing. And really, I think it's really damaging to a lot of kids, because, it's not a bad thing, but we're programmed from a young age to realize, and I didn't mean to get off on this kick, but failure is such it's a negative thing. If you fail, you're in trouble. If you fail, you're grounded. So people develop, we all develop habits, programmed subconsciously. And as we grow up, it's like you get scared of taking risks because you go, oh, well, what if it doesn't work, right? You subconsciously, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get my butt whipped. I'm going to get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble. So this safety mechanism in your body will stop you from taking risks. And I want to tell you that, from someone that's failed way more than I've succeeded, and Joe, you probably can, say the same thing, is that, you guys, if you're looking to start a business, go freaking start your business. If you want to make your business better, and you want to go to a business owner, you want to go to the next level, reach out to Joe, Evangelisti here, direct message him on Facebook, go to his operator-to-owner.com and talk to them about getting help, and just wipe that fear away. Because as long as you have the faith, and as long as you believe in yourself, or you have somebody that believes in you, that can get you to believe in yourself at a higher level, you're going to win. So with that tangent, thanks for being on the show, bro. Love you, man. Thanks for making time. I know you were with family today. But thanks for being on, man. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Okay, you too, man.